I had learned what it meant to be displaced without leaving home. I learned that hardship doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it arrives as a quiet relocation from a room too small to a space not meant for humans at all. That space taught me early that survival sometimes means adjusting to the conditions you never chose.
Exceptional. The earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. But I tell you today, life will not be pop-up. For some people it's smooth and some people it's rough. Some people are good, but some have had enough. For you come, gather, maybe talking matter will matter, but not on a letter. It's with Emmanuel, yeah, on a podcast and with the people who are exceptional. You get the story, I get the story. But you were chosen for your own story. Cause you're exceptional, survivor, achiever, believer. Because yeah, you conquered. Here we talk about stories, true life stories. Where you're gonna learn from many categories. Stay tuned and hear or share your own story, so we all learn and share together.
We are exceptional, and from the ground we rise. I for my famous child, long before that we survive. Share our story right from mine. It's not about a fight, but when it goes wrong. It's not about a fight, yeah, we're nice now. Everybody knows that experience life. We all survive and all the strength, and we are exceptional.
Welcome to the Exceptional Being podcast.
Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of the Exceptional Being podcast. All right, you know that my name is EmmanuelOlatunji, aka EGA, the Exceptional Being. And if this is your first time of coming across this podcast, I want to congratulate you. And I also want to welcome you to my platform. Thank you so much for joining this family. Yes, I believe that if you are watching this program or if you have been following this program, you are family. So I welcome you to this amazing family. On this podcast, what we do here is very simple. We share authentic stories, not just my story, but even your own story. So if you have any inspiring story that you want to share, this is your platform. This is the podcast that you want to be on. So feel free, to reach out to us on the numbers of your screen, right? Feel free to reach out to us. And by the way, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please kindly do so. Just click the subscription button below so that you will not miss the subsequent episode. All right, today I have another wonderful story to share with you. Wow, don't say that every story I bring here are stories of pain, are stories of, well, they are my stories. And I'm proud of my stories because they shape who I am today. Today, I'll be sharing with you another story from my journey, and it is titled When I Lived in an Unfinished Shop. That is exactly what today's story is about. So follow me as I take you on this journey. There was a time in my life when space was not just limited, it was negotiated. My father was a tenant in a one-bedroom apartment with a kitchen and a toilet. In reality, the apartment was a boys' quarter, that is a BQ, not the main building. It felt as though it had been constructed simply to maximize space for rent, not for comfortable living. Still, that was where we lived. The kitchen and the toilet were housed in the same small space, separated only by a thin wall. Yes, exactly as it sounds. That was the condition of our home. As the head of a growing family, my father had limited options. To accommodate the increasing number of children, the kitchen was converted into our bedroom. That room was so cramped it could barely fit a student-sized bed. Eventually, we had to use a double-decker bed. Some of us slept on the top bunk, others below, all within a space that allowed almost no movement. What made it even more difficult was that the room still served as the kitchen. Cooking meant heat, smoke, and discomfort. But still, when someone needed to use the toilet, no one could remain in the room because of the smell. There was no privacy, no comfort, and no escape from it. That was our reality. So, calling that small place a room felt generous. It was a tiny cubicle, just enough to fit a double-decker bed. There was no space to move freely, no corner to call your own. Yet, that same space still had, to function as our kitchen. Whenever cooking was to be done, as I mentioned earlier, we would step outside. If we didn't, the smoke would choke us, filling the room with heat and discomfort. That space taught me early that survival sometimes means adjusting to the conditions you never chose. Then more children came, and then there was a need for another decision. So my father had to improvise. Fortunately, or should I say unfortunately, there was an unfinished shop at the front of our apartment at that time, at the front of our house, and that was exactly, where my elder brother and myself were moved. That shop became our shelter. No proper finishing, no comfort, just walls that hadn't yet decided what they wanted to be. Days turns into weeks. We adapted the way children often do, quietly, without complaint, because we didn't know any other option. At night, the emptiness echoed. During the day, the dust reminded us that this place was temporary, even though it felt endless. Eventually, we moved back into the kitchen turned room. By then, something in me had shifted. I had learned what it meant to be displaced without leaving home. I learned that hardship doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it arrives as a quiet relocation from a room too small to a space not meant for humans at all. Looking back now, I don't tell this story for pity. I tell it because it shaped me. Living in an uncompleted shop taught me resilience before I understood the word. It taught me endurance before I learned how to name it. Some people grow up in houses, you know, big houses, beautiful houses. Some grow up in survival. And somehow, from unfinished spaces and borrowed rooms, I grew into someone determined to finish what life once left incomplete. And that exactly is my story. And that's how the exceptional being came into being. All right, just listening to my own story. I don't know if your own story is also similar to this, but I want to tell you no matter how painful or how touching your past story might seem, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, tell me, what lesson did you pick from this story that I've just shared with you? What is that thing that tickled your fancy? What is that thing that stood out for you, or what resonated with you, with what I just shared? I would like to hear from you. Just feel free, or leave me a feedback. Let me hear from you. How did you feel about this story? I just want to hear from you, all right? Because without communication, I won't have the inspiration to continue this podcast. And I want to continue. I don't want to stop. I love doing this. I enjoy doing this. I love sharing my story because I know they are my story and they have a purpose to fulfill. So please, I want to hear from you. So please engage, communicate, leave your feedback as comment, subscribe to my channel, and invite other people to do that as well. And that's it for me in this episode. I'll be seeing you in another episode. Thank you. Bye for now.
The Exceptional Being Podcast.